Hey, everybody. We are back once again for week 7 of the bakery. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my favorite co host in the game, Tribe. Tribe, how are we?
I'm good, bro.
Sorry for ditching you last week. I had a good friend's wedding about an hour and a half out east on Long Island. Um, I would have rather been doing the show with you, but I apologize. You and Nick did a great job. Um, but how was your week 6? How'd you do?
I mean, I went heavy on a Kendrick Bourne and Igbuka mini stack, so there was that. Overall, it ended up being profitable. I talked about this on the recap show, but Rico Dowdle, Rashad White was the starting point for me. Quarterbacks, I loved Drake May, Sam Darnold. I think Daniel Jones was the last one I ended up with for my main three lineups. Um, a lot of Jackson Smith and Jigba. So it was solid. Could have been more, but it was a solid week. I can't complain. Like Egbuka pulls a hammy and doesn't like come back for the rest of that game. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, I was with you all over on Igbuka too. I had a lot of Bourne. I think when I saw Jennings in play too, I played some Jennings also. But what killed me, man, is that I took a pretty big fade of Rico Dowdle. I just kept saying to myself, like, is he really going to shadow realm me again at this ownership?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he said, you know what, like blow it out your ass, Jason. That's what he said to me. I still played him, but like I had him in like 15% of my 100 lineups, and I just didn't have him in anything really good. I rough, man. It was rough. I had some good bones and some really good lineups though too. I had JSN everywhere. My biggest pivot was going from Dowdle to Judkins, and that did not work out. But I had a ton of HN. I had HN everywhere. So that helped like give me a really solid floor. I was over on Brian Thomas. That helped me out when that second touchdown got called back. I was an absolute wreck. I was like, oh god, that was brutal. But no, outside that, my biggest miss was really just Rico Dowdle, and he was really he's a good play in a vacuum. I just said to myself, like, what happens if he doesn't go for 25 DraftKings points and then he goes for 35 again? So, yep, not good, not good for me. But anyway, we're on to a new week. And Tribe and I were talking before the show, and the one thing we're really excited about is that there's some very uncomfortable value this week. And Tribe said it best. Like if you don't really stick to your process this week and do what you do every single week, you're probably going to be dead in the water. And what he means by that is not necessarily that you need to build lineups the same exact way and take the same sort of construction, but more so the things you value week to week when looking at these plays, you got to still value them the same, even if it's not some glaring value. And, going to quarterback first. There's one glaring value if we actually get that the starter is out this week. But at quarterback, this feels like a week where, I mean, we've been on team no pay up quarterbacks all week, but now I'm looking at these pay up quarterbacks and like I kind of like every single one of them that's not named Jordan Love. Like I kind of like them all. Um, there's one quarterback in the 5K range that I'm gonna have so much of, but we'll get to that in a second. But where are you starting at quarterback this week?
Um. So I'm still like team not pay up at quarterback. I don't disagree that there's some guys that are pricier this week, relatively speaking. DraftKings pricing still drunk, but
Terrible. I don't know
I
what they
just
do, what
don't.
they did this year.
Yeah, I just don't think the ceiling on any of these guys is that significantly higher than the guys priced below them. So for me, the guy that stands out to me immediately is Caleb Williams. It's probably where I'm going to start with that quarterback.
Me too. That's my guy also.
Um, and then I will go back to Daniel Jones once again. They refuse to price him up. He's still 6K. Um,
What does this guy got to do, man?
I don't know. I don't know, but
He's got
you
four
know,
rushing touchdowns on the year. He's thrown a touchdown every game this season. He's been over 200 yards every single game. Like I don't know what they have to do to like. I just don't understand. You look at a guy like Jordan Love, and I'm like, how is Jordan Love more expensive than him? I don't get it.
mhm. This might be the week where I actually pay over 6K for a quarterback.
think you have to if you're running at least 10 lineups or more. I kind of think. And
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But Drake May has been balling, and so I still think 6,300 is probably too cheap for him. So I don't mind going back there. I will say, if I play him, I'm playing him naked. I'm not doing this guessing game with which Patriots receiver is going to go off. So if I play Drake May, I'm not stacking him. I'm playing him naked. We'll get to Daniel Jones stacking options when we get to receiver because there's a guy I'm pretty sure is not going to play this week. And obviously Caleb Williams. You're stacking Caleb Williams, but those are three I'm mainly looking at. I don't know what I might have to yell at James about, like what the hell is going on with the projections and the Jets. So like Justin Fields like projects like really strong relative to his price point, but why?
I think I kind of get why he does. It's I know that James will never give away his secret sauce to anybody, but I know what he really values a lot is like extreme game outcomes and whatnot. And if I had to guess, it's probably his rushing floor. And then also when, based upon his betting models, if he has Carolina as a pretty decent favorite, he may think that Justin Fields is going to throw more. And as we've seen, Justin Fields, as soon as Aaron Glenn decides like, oh, wow, I'm an NFL head coach, I should probably try to win this game now. And like the middle of the third quarter, it's when he starts to really let loose. And if I'm looking here, no, it's not that different. So looking at the betting models here, we have Carolina as a 2-point favorite. Vegas has them as a 1. So it's not like he thinks Carolina like blows them out or anything. So I don't know, but my guess is like the rushing share is probably what I would guess, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Like I guess like if Garrett Wilson were like actually playing, I'd be all over the spot. I'd be pretty like in on the Jets. But he was suspect as a passer with Garrett Wilson. Now you take away his best receiving option. Like you're basically, I don't know. I feel like if he doesn't rush for 100 yards and gets you the 100-yard rushing bonus and a touchdown, like he's just not getting there.
He's got 2 games this year with under 50 passing yards.
This is what I'm saying. And did he even run in those games?
He was 49 yards in one of them, and the other one he ran for 31, and that was last week against Denver. I agree, man. It's gross.
This is what I'm saying. Like his floor is like absurdly low for a quarterback. He might have the lowest floor of any quarterback on the slate.
Yeah, he does. But I will also tell you, out of anybody in that range, if things do go right, he probably arguably has like one of the top ceilings, just because if you can get him to throw one and he runs for 70 yards and throws one in, runs one in himself. I'm with you. I think he's gross, but if he's going to be sub 2% ownership come the weekend, I'm going to have to take like a little taste of him just to see if I catch that lightning in a bottle. And Carolina's defense has been better than people think, but they're still not really great. They're not. They play a really, really soft like cover 3 shell defense, and they let a lot of like the middle of the field open. So if they let him throw, like you could stack him and Mason Taylor and hope you catch lightning in a bottle. But yeah, if I've ever seen a naked quarterback play, it's this. If you're going to play him,
I was going to say, there's also a really gross thing you can do too.
I think I might know where you're going with this, but tell me. Do tell.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Listen, we'll get to running backs in a minute, but if you're going to eat chalk running back and you want to balance out the ownership, just play Justin Fields with him at like sub 1% and just go QB running back stack and just, if they score touchdowns, like first of all, that's an if they score touchdowns in this game, it's coming from one of those two, right? I get, sure, you could play Mason Taylor, I guess, but like if you don't want to try and guess which vomit-inducing pass catcher from the Jets is going to do something, just play Justin Fields with Brees Hall and call it a day.
Yeah, I would agree. I just think it's really tough to get there, man. And even when you go below him too, yeah, there's actually, now that like I'm thinking about it, there's actually some really decent plays, but you got to get like disgustingly cheap. Like if Jacoby Brissett plays like against Green Bay, like I'll be all over that. They're at home. Green Bay's defense has. I got to tell you, man, the one thing that really pisses me off about Green Bay and like LaFleur's starting to get into like that Pete Carroll territory for me. And he said something the other day, and it was against when they were playing Dallas in that Sunday night game. They come out, they score on the first drive, they march down the field, score. Second drive, they march down the field, kick a field goal. Dallas gets a field goal, they come back, march down the field, they get to 4th and 1. It's 4th and 1 on their 49-yard line. You have Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs is running all over them. And this motherfucker tries to draw them off sides and take a penalty to punt, gives Dallas the ball. We all know what happens next. Dallas makes it competitive. But at halftime, this motherfucker says, yeah, like we're playing through some adversity. Like, guys just got to be tougher. And I'm like, you're just a jackass. Like you're up 13-0. You're stepping on their throat. Put them out of their misery. And that's what gives me confidence against any team that's playing against them. If we know Green Bay is going to get a lead against this Arizona defense and they're up by 10 to 15 at any point in this game, he does exactly what Jonathan Gannon did on the Eagles. We're up by 20. That's it. Sit in a prevent. We'll give everybody everything. And then we get towards the red zone, then we'll start playing some real defense. It infuriates me because I love it for our purposes, because if you could diagnose like who's gonna be able to push them back, it's good. But that's why if Brissett plays, like it's gonna be tough for me not to have a ton of Brissett McBride to start all my lineups this weekend. It's gonna be very, very tough.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Any other cheap guys that you're considering? I know you said, obviously still a below, cheap. You're still a cheap quarterback guy. Is there anybody you like, 5,600 and below? I know you say like Caleb Williams, but anybody below that?
I don't. People are gonna have something to say. I don't hate Spencer Rattler.
Me neither.
I don't think you need to get there, but I think he might be my Jacoby Brissett would, if he's starting like you said, with him and Trey McBride for sure. But then Spencer Rattler might be my second favorite quarterback down under 5K.
I have to agree with you, man. I mean, I think Spencer Rattler, for all intents and purposes, I don't want to sit here and say like he's been a serviceable quarterback. Like, I don't think he's been the worst starting quarterback. Our underlying metrics like really seem to like him. And Chicago is this team that seems like they could produce some really, really good fantasy games because of their own defense. And I also like how aggressive, it's almost like how aggressive Chicago is could kind of offset and make New Orleans more aggressive. I will say there is a little bit of a weather concern this game. And it's weird. This is the first week where we have like legitimate weather. Like, I know last week they were like, oh, like the Rams game in Baltimore may have some weather, but like this week it's actually pretty serious. Like Cleveland's is the Cleveland spot. When we talk about that, it's like that's very gross. But we're supposed to have 15 to 20% wind, supposed to gust up to 30, and it's supposed to be very rainy. So if you're going to give me like a cold, wet, rainy game in Chicago, I don't know if I'm going to like Spencer Rattler then, but like we'll see what comes.
Oh, that's what we're going to get. I have a take that I was already considering, but we'll get there in just a minute.
Oh, is it Mr. DeAndre Swift? Is that who that is?
Yeah.
That's my guy. That's my guy right there. Down here, I will say I also do like Carson Wentz a little bit. This Philadelphia, and it's if he starts,
it's not the same Philly defense. You got to get that. They're Super Bowl champs. I get it. You got to get it out of your head. This is not the same Philadelphia defense.
Yep, I agree. And the one thing I also like about it with this stack too is that I think there's legitimate merit that if you think Minnesota, who's also at home, by the way, Philly's been getting gashed on the ground. They've been getting torched through the air. Little Jordan Humphrey made them look like ridiculous this past week. And they have their bye next week. I don't hate the idea of going like Wentz, Jordan Mason, and then playing Justin Jefferson and hoping that you just capture like all the offensive upside. But at 5K, it's not bad. I just don't know if McCarthy plays. If McCarthy plays, obviously that's fully null and void. I do like Bo Nix, and I'm not trying to be a Broncos homer, but do you know what this week is in Denver, Tribe, this weekend?
Oh, it's Demaryius Thomas. Yo, God bless the dead. Shout out to Demaryius Thomas, his friends and families and loved ones, all going to be in attendance. His former teammates. Yeah. They're not losing this game. If you want a bet to bet the mortgage on Denver money line.
Minus 7. They're 7-point favorites right now. I'll take that and then some. And also too, the one thing I like about this spot, if we're talking like an X's and O's scheme perspective, so Bo Nix, for all intents and purposes, and again, I'm a Broncos fan. I'll be objective. He has not been like that great of a pocket passer this year. He's had some games where like he's missed throws by a few inches, like against the Chargers. He missed four deep balls that were like fingertipped in guys' hands. He lands 2 of those. Like Denver only has 1 loss right now, but this is a very, very good team. The Giants, I get that Jackson Dart's sexy. Scatterbo's a fucking monster, right? And Scatterbo is the, for UFC fans out there, I said this in the Discord, he's the Mike Perry of the NFL. Love the guy, right? He's gonna chug beers on the sideline. He's gonna concuss himself every weekend. We love it. It's entertainment. But this is just such a bad matchup for them. And in that secondary, I just think the Broncos are gonna get whatever they want. They're gonna see a ton of man coverage. No team plays more man coverage than the Broncos themselves. The second is the Giants. So I like this spot a lot. DT's getting honored into, I just think it's a really good spot. And I do think that the Giants are a little tougher to run on. But outside of that, I agree with you. If I'm going above 6K, for me, it's like very tough to get away from Jaden Daniels if I am going to be paying up that high. Mahomes has all his weapons, but Jaden Daniels seems like he's starting to run a little bit more now. So I do like that. Obviously, Dak is fine, and I'm with you on Drake May and Daniel Jones. A lot of good quarterback plays this week. I don't think this is a weak QB week whatsoever.
Yeah.
All right, running back. So I want to get your take on this, man, because you've been pounding the drum, and you said it in the Discord. You said it on the show last year that like when there's very, very good running back chalk, you probably shouldn't fade it. And last week, Rico Dowdle, like I kind of thought I wanted throughout the week, and then Sunday came, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, what if he fails? Like, there's Junkins is right there. But it seems like this week you kind of have to spend your money somewhere at running back.
Mm-hmm.
The cheap plays seem like they're just not really reliable. What are your thoughts at running back this week? Where do you think you're going to start?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm probably going to stick with what I do. And for those who don't know what I do is I sort by projection, and I'm looking for like who projects for 15 fantasy points or higher, and I play the cheapest ones. And this week, barring there's some Q tags, so I'll monitor that, but I haven't heard anything that these guys are not playing. DeAndre Swift and Alvin Kamara. So when you tell me that game is going to be ugly, like weather-wise, that makes me like that even more. I know Alvin Kamara he's never been like a bell cow type running back, but it looks like they're starting to get him involved more in the passing game. The past 3 weeks, he's had 5, 6, and 5 targets.
Very encouraging. It's very, very encouraging.
So, and he's below 6K. Like, that's the big thing for me is like, this is a guy who we have seen have 20 plus fantasy point outcomes. We know what his ceiling is. And so to be able to get that at that price, I'm all for it. DeAndre Swift kind of in the same boat for me. So I like that. As far as like the chalk this week is going to be Breece Hall. And on the one hand, like he's going to get all the work he can handle, but the efficiency is a big concern, right? That abomination that act of war by presenting that game to a foreign nation, right? He had 22 carries for 59 yards. So it's like, I mean, I guess like the volume is not the question, right? But the same Carolina defense pretty much held Javonte Williams in check and the Dallas Cowboys, right? And Javonte Williams has been having a great season, right? He's been pretty solid. Multiple games so far this season, over 20 fantasy points. Just kind of been uh, getting the bell cow work for Dallas, and he essentially did nothing. So, do I think Brees Hall on a far worse offense from an efficiency standpoint is going to be able to like have a ceiling outcome here? Probably not. Again, we're not predicting outcomes, but do I think like the situation presents an opportunity for him to realize like that the tail end of his range of outcomes? Not really. Like I don't feel like the need to play that probability game. Um, so that's probably where I'm starting. I do like Jordan Mason. I want to like Judkins, but good God, that Cleveland offense is just. I said this on the show on the bring on Shador. Like what are we doing? Like what are we doing? Dylan Gabriel stinks. The offense stinks. The team stinks. The coach stinks. Everything stinks. At least give me something to talk about. Give me something. So I want to like Judkins. He's had flashes where he's looked good, but again, similar situation where it's like if this offense just is incapable of being efficient, it doesn't matter if he's going to get all the work, right? Aside from that, you really don't. Javonte Williams against Washington is probably fine. He's priced up a little bit, but I don't mind. You can go there. But outside of that is probably me looking at some of these higher end guys in my flex spot, right? Jonathan Taylor, A-Chain, Jacobs versus Arizona. Saquon Barkley, even 7,700 for Saquon. I do think he's playing hurt, personally. I don't think he's 100%. And I'm low-key rooting for the Eagles offense to continue to suck so they fire the OC, but
yeah, that guy's abysmal. I agree with you, man, on almost all of it. The only guy I'm going to push back on a little bit, it's actually two guys, but I think if like there's any week to like eat the Quinshawn Judkins chalk, if he's going to be this price, I think it's this week. This Miami team, man, they are so bad against the run, and now you get Cleveland at home. The other part of this the aspect that I like a lot, and again, I'm not trying to predict the future here, but what does Cleveland's defense do almost better than anybody? They're really good at getting pressure. The only time they really couldn't get pressure was last week, and that was against the Steelers. And the Steelers have had like a top 5 pass blocking offensive line on the year. Miami has had one of the worst. Tua, if you make Tua even have to shuffle his feet, he's
probably throwing a pick.
Oh, 100%. So if we're going to get some short fields here, it's probably going to be chalky, but like Cleveland, Miami, the Cleveland defense and Junkins stacked together in your lineup. I like that a lot. I think he got game scripted out of that game, but to your point, they're not efficient. And also in other games this year where they were getting the shit kicked out of them. Actually, there's really only one game where they got the shit kicked out of him where he had a full workload. Against Detroit, they gave him 21 touches. In a competitive game against Minnesota, though, he went for 23 and had 2 targets. They were never really in that game with Pittsburgh. He only took 12 carries. So if you think Cleveland is competitive here, it's hard for me to think that they don't give him 20 to 25 touches, and maybe even more if it's going really well. You said it best. This coach stinks. I mean, I don't think Stefanski's as terrible as like the players that they gave him. Like I don't think he wanted Deshaun Watson, and all this shit. But yeah, like this, it's a dumpster fire organization doing dumpster fire things. And what do dumpster fire organizations do? They can't get out of their own way, which means they're going to take their star running back and they're going to run him into the fucking ground because that's what they do. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong, but Saquon too. Also, I don't think he's playing hurt as much as like that offensive coordinator is just a jackass. He had this one play against Denver the week before, uh the week before last. He took like a 50-yard, he took like a 12-yard little, I don't know how to really call it. I guess like a fade route from Jalen Hurts, and he took it 50 yards to the house against some man coverage. And in this spot here, he's going up against Minnesota. Minnesota's been very susceptible on the ground. You take a look at what, Kenneth Gainwell did to them. And again, you want to say it's a different offensive line, sure, but like Kenneth fucking Gainwell is never going to be a starting running back in his NFL career. And he looked like Walter Payton. So I don't hate Saquon if you think that they just say fuck it before the bye, we're going to feed him. But I am concerned that he's not going to get the work with you on Taylor. Achane, I'm iffy on, but he's kind of a guy who's matchup proof to me just because of his pass catching ability.
Right.
Jacobs, I don't really like that spot in the road, sure. Dowdle, I mean, if we think he gets the lion's share of the work, I think he's too cheap, but I don't want to eat that chalk to find out that he's like in a 60-40 split.
Right.
Outside of that, though, I love DeAndre Swift too. Kamara, big fan of that also. I think if they want to move the ball and the weather's that bad, he's going to catch these little dump offs. There's one guy I'm going to point out that he doesn't project well at all for his price, but I want to give him a shout out, and I think this is a pretty good spot for him. I do like some JCM this week. We don't have him projected as well. He's projected fine, but 6,100 against this Dallas defense who, Tribe, I think you and I.
We saw it, right.
Yeah, right. Dude, Bryce Young was dropping dimes on people. Like I never thought I'd see the day, but he was. Right. So I don't hate that either. But honestly, I feel really gross kind of going below this 15-point projection outside of JCM and Mason. I feel like it's kind of gross. Even a guy like Dobbins, I'm like, man, if they blow them out, like Harvey's going to get work and everything. And I'm not playing the chart.
Let me ask you about one. Do we believe in Kamani Vidal?
So I'm glad you said that. So they reported last week that Hassan Haskins was going
to get the carries. Yeah.
And he did to start. He did. He definitely did. But Kamani Vidal just like made more of his opportunity. Honestly, I'll phrase it this way. I don't believe that he's going to be the lead back going forward, but I do believe that if this game goes the way I think it's going to go, I think he's the guy you bet on just because I don't know if you saw the line, but Indianapolis is a road dog this week on the road at the Chargers. The Chargers aren't any healthier right now. Like Joe Alt practiced in a limited fashion, but this team has been getting gashed on the ground by teams that frankly just don't run between the tackles well at all. And now they have the Colts coming in who just played in this. I know this doesn't mean anything, but they just played in this fucking arena like 2 weeks ago against the Rams. And now they're coming back. If they couldn't contain Achane between the tackles, they couldn't, they had a tough time with Scatterbo too when they played them. Like Jonathan Taylor's not going to go for like 102 touchdowns here. Like I just don't see it. Like I think the wrong team is favored here. So I do like Kamani Vidal on the fact that he's the pass catching back. That's more what I'm getting at. If I was going to bet on him to lead the backfield again, it'd be this week if it goes that way. But I don't know, man. They said Haskins was
going to lead 21 touches last week. He had 18 carries and three catches, which is
nuts. It's insane. And I guess that's what makes Harbaugh and Greg Roman these like really sharp guys. Because Hassan Haskins started off the game he was the running back getting those touches. Like he was on the first drive. So like I don't know. I don't mind.
I mean, he basically only got that because he finished the game with 6 carries.
Yeah. He had a very small workload and he just got it early. But I don't mind taking a flyer on him, especially in my flex spot. Like if I'm going to take Daniel Jones and stack them, I don't mind him as part of a game stack because I do think he's the pass catching back. I'm 100% certain about that. Yeah. So that's the way to go. But what are your thoughts on Vidal? Do you have any leans or anything?
I think if I'm playing more than 5 lineups, I think I get him into some. I don't know if I'm playing 3 to 5 that he makes the cut, but it's an interesting spot to me for sure. Like if he's a guy that's at 5,500, if the guy's going to get 20 plus touches, like that's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. And if I even knew he was going to get like 17 to 18 carries, like I'd probably invest. But
Yeah.
it's tough, and also too in that range, now because like I'm thinking about it, like if we think New England like blows the doors off of Tennessee, and this is like a Vrabel revenge spot, and they crush them, like, do you think one of these running backs get there, or do you think there's no shot?
I feel like they're going to push Drake May, to be honest with you. I think he's been playing well. You see the Bills like faltering right now. I think they pushed Drake May, and they kind of pushed like it's week 7, so like take this one a great assault. But I think they pushed the MVP case for Drake May. You
I don't
let
hate
him
that,
ball
man.
out.
I don't hate that call. I don't hate that at all. And the other thing I like about the idea of stacking Drake May too is that both of their running backs are used in the passing game. So like I don't think it's mutually exclusive that like I think if I'm playing a running back on New England, I'm not playing them with the notion that they're going to go for 100 yards on the ground and score. I'm playing it for the notion that they probably get 30 to 40 yards and maybe they catch a touchdown. So yeah, I'm with you. I will say though, and again, grain of salt here. I'm gonna take your line because I couldn't agree more. They've also been running the ball a lot. They just like split it up between their running backs.
Yes, it's just like split like evenly. Yeah.
They ran 22 times last week in that game too. And if we think they're gonna have a lead, I mean, crazier things have happened. But yeah,
I just don't think it's worth it, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't have the stones for that, honestly. I'll admit it. I just don't.
I mean, it's one of these things I've talked about. I think I mentioned this in the Discord before with somebody where it's like you can do the thing that it like won all the money like one time 2 years ago, or you can do the thing that won like every other time other than that one time 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
I agree, man. I totally agree. And this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting running back week. And one thing I'll shout out here, then we'll move on to wide receiver. Jonathan Taylor, we have his expected fantasy points at 24. That's stupid. He's supposed to be even better than he is. That's crazy. Yes. That's fucking crazy. All right, wide receivers. So I wrote this in the newsletter this week, and I don't know if everybody read it and saw where I was going with it, but basically I what I do every Monday is I break down kind of, what are some important things that happened, and then how do we handle it moving forward, these situations. And one of the things I brought up was that I don't know where you spend money at wide receiver this week. Like, I just don't really know where you do it outside of obviously you're going to play Justin Jefferson. CeeDee Lamb is a fit. He said he's back, and he said he could have played last week, but he wanted to play with no limitations. Sure. You have Pickens up there, which, like, obviously if CeeDee Lamb's full go, like, you probably just got to pick one of them. There's just not enough value to play both, even in a Dallas stack. And then Roma Dunze, who had that touchdown call back, which was kind of bullshit. He should have had a little bit of a bigger day. 6,600. Tet McMillan's going to go 3 for 30 and 2 touchdowns and kill me again. I know it. But, like, there's just not a lot of places to spend up. So what are you doing at wide receiver this week, given the spend ups we have at running back?
Yeah. So first things first, like, I'm still looking, are there receivers that are getting volume that are playing each other that I can, get some mini stack action on? One that Chris Olave and Odunze stands out to me. That was one that caught my eye at first glance. If Josh Downs is in concussion protocol and hasn't practiced for the Colts, at this point, I'm pretty sure that he is not going to play. Like, he's not going to clear concussion protocol.
He didn't play today. And to your point on him, I read a report saying that, and I don't know how truthful this is, but apparently, like he didn't even show up at the facility till today. Like
Yeah.
he's been out of it.
So with him out, I think I like Pittman and Quentin Johnston's back. Never mind.
Oh, I
Scratch
know where
that.
you were gonna go. I know where you were
Yeah,
going.
yeah. Never mind. If Quentin Johnston was out, like I was gonna say McConkey, but like with Johnston, McConkey, and Keenan Allen like all playing, I don't really want to play that roulette wheel. Deebo Samuel and one of CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens, I think is solid. If Jacoby Myers is out, I think he didn't practice today.
Did he not practice today? I thought he was back. Did I miss that?
Let me check the news. I was just looking at it. Jacoby Myers doesn't practice again on Thursday, so he didn't practice Wednesday or today.
Oh yeah, okay, and he's probably getting traded too.
And that right. So, listen, Trey Tucker and Rashee Rice. They said off the and Chiefs aren't one of those teams that like kind of like does like sneaky stuff to try and throw. Like if they say it, they mean it. They said like they're gonna get Rashee Rice like involved and like back in the offense like immediately. They're not wasting any time.
All the work that he can handle is what I was told.
Yeah, right. So Rashee Rice and Trey Tucker for like under 11K.
I don't hate that.
We know Geno's gonna chuck it. We know they're probably gonna be playing from behind. So
who are you gonna say that so going back to Indianapolis for a second, with Josh Downs out, you think that locks in Pittman for you more, you think?
Yes, if you want to take a flyer on Alec Pierce, I don't hate that either.
Okay.
But in general, I think it just raises the floor of it. Basically, it raises the floor of everybody else that catches the ball.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm just trying to think through, and I'll do some more research on this. You know me, I like to look at the routes and like who's out, who benefits, that whole thing. Something tells me, because also Ashton Doolin is also missing. He hasn't practiced this week either. So if you're going to get me Adonai Mitchell again when everybody thinks that guy stinks,
don't do it, bro.
I got to do it.
God,
this
friends
is like
don't let friends play Adonai Mitchell.
Well, listen, a friend of mine, I would have fucking cursed out if I didn't play him when he told me to, and he didn't drop that touchdown. We would be saying Adonai Mitchell's like the newest breakout cheap wide receiver. He'd be $5,000 this fucking week, and we'd be like, wow, can you believe Adonai Mitchell's $5,000 with no Josh Downs and Ashton Doolin? What is DraftKings doing right now? So like, we'll figure it out. But I think Downs routes, I just want to see who runs those routes. That's really what I'm curious about.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, man, not that you meant to do it, but I think you really talked me on to Daniel Jones this week. Because let's say that game goes as planned and like the Chargers are like having a lead at some point. I kind of like how cheap that stack is, and you can load up with the best running back plays.
Yeah.
Other wide receiver part, wide receivers that I'm looking at. I'm honestly, I'm not going to play anybody. I'm not playing Waddle. I'm not going to play McMillan. Debo, I'll maybe play if Terry doesn't play. Worthy, I don't love it with Rice back, but he's cheap enough that like if he gets a big play or two, he's fine. The LAC guys, I'm not going to fuck with. I think you can do. This is similar to that week where we thought they were going to do really well against Washington. If you want to pick one of like him, Ladd, or QJ Ladd or Keenan, I have no problem with that whatsoever. Cortland Sutton, obviously, if I like Bo Nix, I'm going to like Cortland Sutton. That's a gimme.
Yep.
I do like these Philly receivers just because of where they're priced, and we know that both of these guys can hit home runs. That game in general, I think, is going very, very underlooked, and I think you could stack that game every which way. I'm definitely in my portfolio. I'm probably going to run like 50 to 60. I'm definitely going to have some shares of that. Rashee Rice.
Listen, Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say Rashee Rice. I'm in. I'm with you. I'm buying. I'm gonna buy the hype that he's gonna get the workload. And honestly, outside of that, before you make your point, the last guy that I was gonna get to that I think makes a lot of sense, especially because we have another concussed guy out in Arizona who isn't gonna play probably, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Actually, he was limited practice, so we'll see. But if he's out like a 3,800 Michael Wilson, you could do worse than that. But yeah, what were you going to say?
To your point about the Philly guys, like if at any point last year I told you could comfortably play AJ Brown and Justin Jefferson and still be able to play like one of the top running backs in the flex spot, like, or just in general one of the top running backs with them, like you'd be all over that. So, but that's what we can do this week. Like AJ Brown is under 6K. You can pretty easily fit him with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, you can. And the other thing too with that, and this is where I think looking at the math of when you look at the math of what's possible and what you can fit, it's actually really, really enticing of a game. Especially when we see when Philly gets pushed, like they will let Jalen Hurts drop back and throw it 30 plus times if they really have to. They're on the road at Minnesota. Minnesota is going to move the ball on them. I think Minnesota is going to put up points. You get Hurts for 6,700. You get AJ Brown and Smith for both under 6K. They already did it once this year too against the Rams. Like they already did it once. And last week against the Giants, like AJ Brown, 80 yards, 9 targets. Devontae Smith had, I think, like 6 or he had 5 targets, but the week before he had 10. All you got to do is catch the right game script where both these guys go 7 for 100 and score, and you win all the money.
Right. Exactly.
As we get a little cheaper, is there any other like value wide receivers you got your eye on, or because I feel like it's tough to really pay up for past $6,000 for a lot of these guys and feel good about it this week. But anybody down here in these value ranges that's caught your eye?
The only guy I can justify. Well, there's 2 guys. One, keep an eye on injury. Stephon Diggs popped up with a Q tag. If he can't go, all about the booty.
Pause.
But if Diggs is out, booty is more important than drinking water.
Oh my God. There it goes. When I upload this later, I have to pick not suitable for kids. Thanks.
Shout out to the booty warrior.
Oh God. God. I just keep thinking of him. You ever see Tropic Thunder when that guy said, "Drink booty sweat, baby, drink booty sweat"? You ever see that movie?
Yes.
Brandon T. Jackson. He's like, "Drink booty sweat." I love that shit. Oh no. Anyway, I digress.
But no, if Diggs is out, like he's probably like one of the best values on the slate. The other guy that I can convince myself to play down here under 5K would be Rashid Shaheed. Other than that, I'm not touching anything down here.
I do like some Rashid Shaheed too. I do think we actually have a lot more injury news to monitor this week than probably in past weeks. I do think that what's his name? DJ Moore. Like DJ Moore had like a hospital stay. If he's out, I think Luther Burden, this is a good spot where New Orleans is going to play some tough man-to-man at times. And we kind of just saw what, DeMario Douglas and Kayshon, Booty, as you like to call him, has done. Is it Booty or Booty? I don't know.
It's Booty, man.
Okay. All right, I'll take your word for it. Word for it. But no, I think that that's a decent play with Luther Burden. He's a burner, and I think this is a game where he could definitely, weather permitting, get that. Yeah.
That's so weird to me that where did the burner thing come from? This is where like the college stuff throws me. He was not a burner in college. He was like a possession receiver in college.
Where did he play in college?
He played for Mizzou.
Really? And he was a possession receiver?
Yeah.
Because like his only 2 catches this year are like north of 30 yards.
Yeah, that's why it's so weird to me. He was like maybe not a possession is the right word. He was like the Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua type guy.
Oh, like they would throw a slant and he takes it.
Yeah. He wasn't like a go route, throw it up to him type of throw moonshots to him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because when you look at his college game, the game scripts, I mean his game logs. His senior year, he only had 3 games where he had a catch of 30 yards or more, and he's got
Yeah.
2 in the NFL.
I'm
And
like,
they're
what?
not even just like he takes a pass and takes it 30 yards.
No, they're like just throwing a bomb to him.
Air yards.
Yeah.
They're I totally agree, man. It's weird, but I will be all about that action if DJ Moore is out. Alec Pierce, these cheap guys I like a lot on Indianapolis, especially if the injury news falls the right way.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you like I told the people on the recap show though. If you're playing these cheap guys, play them with the stack.
Don't
I
want off
swear to God, bro, if I see a lineup that you post in the Discord and you have a Luther Burden one-off, I'm banning you.
Well, that's crazy because I just built a dummy lineup and Christian Watson's a one-off, so I don't know.
You son of a
I'm just kidding. I would never fucking play that guy. You kidding me? The guy's got 1 calf. You think I'm playing a guy with 1?
Don't say that on Twitter. His dad will troll you.
Yeah, it's okay. You can troll me only one. His son's got 1 calf, and he's a millionaire, so he can fuck off. But any other wide receiver thoughts before we go to tight end?
Nah, we can jump over to tight end.
All right, cool. So tight end. So last week, Trey McBride did the thing where he said, "Oh, you must have forgot about me," and it's like, yeah, because that
great song by Roy Jones Jr. By the way.
Oh, dude, Tribe, no bullshit. I'll show you something really quick.
I swear, if you still have a ringtone in 2025, I'm gonna lose it.
Look what I was listening to today at work. Can't be touched, can't be stopped.
Yo, the right hand was numb, so I beat him with the left.
Yeah.
You almost forgot.
Oh my God, I love that shit. It makes me feel like I'm going into a price fight when I'm just trying to send out some sales emails. I'm just sitting there like bumping, and everyone in my office is looking at me. What the fuck you doing, man? But yeah. So Trey McBride was like, you must have forgot. This is what happens when that midget fuck Kyler's not throwing me the ball.
Yo, this is what I said. You weren't on the show last week, but I said that. I was like, yo, I actually like the offense more with Jacoby Brissett. Kyler Murray is in fact the problem.
Yeah, he is. And, it kind of goes to show. And how often are we going to see this with these like veteran journeyman quarterbacks that like they just got to get in the right situation and system? He can read a defense. He knows how to, he knows how to check the pressure. He can ID the mic. He's just like a savvy veteran quarterback. Like, and we're seeing it right now. Like with Joe Flacco, like, does he look like a world beater? No, but is he good enough to throw 2 touchdowns in 1 half on the Steelers? Yeah, he is. So
Magic was the prototype.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Jacoby Brissett's on that adrenochrome. I don't know. Can I say that out loud? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But Trey McBride at 5,700. I mean, he feels for this slate expensive just because of where else you need to spend your money. Same thing with Ferguson. Tyler Warren, I'm never going to have a problem with. Tucker Kraft, I'm never going to have a problem with. The one guy who I want to ask you about, and again, I'm not saying I'm going to play him, so please don't sue me. But do you think that there's a chance now that the Chiefs
Did you just call me Drake?
No. I said no. I wish I no. You kidding me? You think I would ever disrespect Drake like that? Come on. I'm just kidding. But like
under 5K.
Yeah, under 5K, they get all their weapons back. Does this open up for him now that they have everybody?
I kind of feel like it does. Like he thrives most when he's just open, right? You know what I mean? When he's not like the main guy, when he has to be the number one at his big old age, as they say, that's where he struggles, right? But, when they got their full complement of weapons and the defense has to respect like the other guys on the outside and what Mahomes can do, Kelsey has just made his career out of like just finding these spots and, being that guy who just gets open, and we just seen him time and time again. You're like, how the hell, like, why is nobody around him? So I do think he benefits from them getting their full complement of weapons back. And he's under 5K, like he's 4,700. Like,
yeah,
I have no issues whatsoever playing Travis Kelce this week. And it's the Raiders. Like,
I was
what?
just gonna say they've been a sieve to tight ends, man. The
Bro, did you
last
see what Tyler Warren did against them? Good God.
Oh, dude, yeah, Tyler Warren, that he like I mean, he was always on everybody's radar, but he like really broke out against them. But dude, even
Tyler wearing them out.
Like Cole Kmet has had like 5 catches on the year. Like I think 3 of them were against the Raiders. Like if I'm being serious. And then Washington the week before, I mean, I thought I remember a tight end doing something against them. I could just be making that up.
Was that Ertz?
Yeah, no, Ertz had like 40 yards receiving.
3 for 30. Yeah. It
3 for
wasn't
38.
Listen, it's one of those games where when we talk about like the tight end position, like the stereotypical line you want from it. Like if they can get you 5 for 50 and a touchdown, you're good. This is a prime spot for a Hall of Fame tight end to be able to go 5 for 50 and a touchdown against the Raiders, who are trash.
Divisional
Kansas
game
City,
too.
divisional game. Kansas City's kind of feeling themselves a little bit now with their weapons back. Again, you see your rivals over the past, 5 or so years, right? The Ravens are a dumpster fire, right? The Bills are struggling. Like, you haven't gotten off to the best start this season, but like with what those other two, with your main 2 rivals in your conference have been doing, right? You still got a shot. You got an opportunity. I think they come out and curb stomp the Raiders.
I couldn't agree more, man. And also, too, to what you were saying earlier about Drake May getting pushed for the MVP, Mahomes got all his weapons right now, man. It's the first time he's had all of them in like a year and a half. And they get this spot at home against this Raiders team who, like, this Raiders team, like, struggled against Tennessee. Like, I know that score was lopsided, but, man, like, that first half, the Raiders had a very, very tough time and moving the ball. And later in the game, Cam Ward had a little bit of a rhythm, not much, but a little bit where they got going. I'm with you. I think this is just a KC stomp anyway that they want to get it. And I like the spot a lot for him. And I can't believe I'm saying it. I'm going to click Travis Kelce's name for like the first time in like 2 years on Draftkings.
Right.
That's not a showdown slate. So
right.
Go fucking figure, man. Dallas Goedert, I want to shout him out too, man. This guy's red zone role is incredible. Do you know the touchdown streak this guy is on?
Holy shit, he had 29 fantasy points against the Giants.
Dude, they run these little, the one thing that the OC does that I like, if they're 5 yards out of the end zone, they run like these little like stupid pick routes, and he just like all of his touchdowns are like catching the ball this way to the sideline like this and running it in. Every single one. And it's great to see. And he's still 4,500. His ceiling is
like outside of that Dallas game, he has a touchdown in every single game this year.
100%. And this is another team in Minnesota where they give up some tight end production. So I'm all about it. We kind of saw what Njoku just did to them the week before. Darnell Washington had a pretty big game against them. I like this spot a lot. I can't believe I'm talking myself into it. I'm going to stack the fucking Eagles like everywhere now. I don't even think you need to stack them, to be honest. I think, shout out to James, owner and founder of Paydirt, DFS.com, but like he's talked about, these situations, you can play multiple guys from a team and not actually pair their quarterback with them. I don't think it's crazy necessarily to play like Goddard and A.J. Brown, but you play them like with a Carson Wentz, Justin Jefferson stack. I don't hate that at all, man. I don't hate that at all. And to that point about the cheap quarterback, if you do get like a Jacoby Brissett this week, who's going to start, you could even do something crazy where you go like you can go Jacoby Brissett, McBride. You could play Goddard, AJ Brown, and then also in that same game, go grab Jordan Mason and Jefferson and just say that, neither quarterback has the massive ceiling game and Brissett matches them. Like you do a lot of crazy things there. So I agree. Harold Fannin, I think is a nut play if Njoku misses.
Is Njoku confirmed out?
I think he's probably going to be out. I don't think he's practiced yet. And it's funny because I have him in, almost all of my season long drafts. He just happened to fall to me every time. So if he's out, I do like Harold Fannin. I think Zach Ertz is obviously very sharp if you're going to stack Washington. He's he's gonna be high owned, but all they needed back was Jaden Daniels, and he's returned to his role of 10 to 15 points a game.
Yep.
Only other one I'll shout out here, and then I want to know if there's anybody else you're curious about. Theo Johnson against the Broncos, he could fuck right off. Is if this is a gross game, do we see Taysom Hill get unleashed anymore?
Ugh. I mean,
if he didn't get a goal line rush last week, I wouldn't even consider him.
I don't think you. I don't. No, not on this slate. Like, what time is it? Is that an afternoon game? No, it's an early. No, I don't even think. Even on the early only, I don't think you can go there. Taysom Hill is he's your classic showdown guy. Your classic showdown 2-game short slate type of guy. I don't think you can touch him on a main slate like this.
All right, I'm in on that. I will not play him, but God damn it, if he scores 2 touchdowns, I'm gonna. Oh. You ever play chicken in traffic? It's a good time. Trust me. All right, but that takes care of every position by position. To go to the Sims really quick, ran this at QB. Jaden Daniels in small field is a very, very strong play. Then followed by Mahomes, Caleb Williams. That's our guy. You do have Herbert showing there. I'm not going to play Justin Herbert until I see that offensive line get healthier. I just can't do it. It's just not for me. Jordan Love, sure, if you think Arizona pushes them, but I'm not in on it. Drake May, a little bit of a negative edge. I'm surprised. I wonder if that's because of pricing. But the biggest edge is Jaden Daniels, then Carson Wentz and Dart. But heavy, pretty strong lean on Jaden Daniels in small field. Dak and Patrick Mahomes have the worst edge in small field, so you probably want to start your build with Jaden Daniels. At the running back spot, pretty spread out here, but you see some high exposures on Javonte Williams, Breece Hall, and Josh Jacobs. Jonathan Taylor shows up there too. But basically, they're saying that outside of DeAndre Swift, you probably shouldn't really pay down for running back this week. Shouldn't go below 6K. We look at the biggest edge in the Sims. We have Josh Jacobs as a pretty strong pay up. Kamara, there's your boy right there. Kamara has, second highest positive edge. Javonte, Breece Hall. I don't like seeing that Breece Hall one, but I digress. And then lowest is Pacheco, Junkins. Damn, it's sad. It's over for me. I'm cooked. And then you have Dobbins and JCM at the wide receiver spot. Yeah, Rashee Rice. He just feels like if he's getting a big workload, this just feels like smash chalk. Like this feels like JSN from last week.
Yes. Well, yes. And then considering his price, right?
Yep.
I think you could look at it like we might not have the running back that's in that price range, but we have a receiver in that price range, right? So maybe instead of looking for 2 running backs there, you just go DeAndre Swift or something, right? And Rashee Rice, and there's your 2 5K guys.
Yeah.
I also don't hate the Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce. And I think you can play both of them and not necessarily play Mahomes. If you want to stack Mahomes, by all means, that's probably what you do if you're playing him. But I think you can play both of them without Mahomes as well, just given their price and how cheap they are.
I totally agree. And there's a world where Mahomes throws for 303 and you don't need him still. There's that world, especially when you have guys like Jalen Hurts who may get pushed in twice to the end zone, which is that guy could score 18 fantasy points on 3 rushing yards. It's crazy. It's fucking stupid, but it's crazy. Yeah, and then looking at the wide receivers, Debo here. Obviously, this will change if McLaurin's definitely in. JJ, CeeDee Lamb, and Marvin Harrison. He's not. He's practicing in a limited fashion, so we'll see if he plays. I'm curious to see what this looks like more towards Sunday, because I kind of think Waddle's a really horrible play, just looking at everything. So maybe he gets docked for the weather. Biggest edge is Rice, Waddle, Jefferson, Tucker. There you go. There's that Trey Tucker shout out right there. You play him as a run back in that game. You play him as a mini stack. It's a great call. Lowest edge. MHJ, Terry McLaurin, Downs, who's probably not going to play. So this is going to have to update because I don't think Downs is playing.
Yep.
And finally, at tight end, it's Trey McBride, Tyler Warren, or bust, really. That's really what it's looking like here. The biggest edge is Darren Waller and then Harold Fannin, and Harold Fannin is the only tight end with a positive edge that has an exposure of at least 5%. So basically what this is saying is don't worry about your tight end position. Just like correlate it however you see fit. But if you really want to make sure you have the right play, McBride, Warren, Fannin, and
it's basically telling you either, which it says this a lot of the times, right? If you're one-offing tight end, either spend up or spend down, right? You don't, which sucks because we were like talking about Kelsey, but like that range where Kelsey is at is actually what you should avoid, because the reality is like you can probably get similar production out of Harold Fannin for less, or you can get a higher ceiling outcome with McBride, Ferguson, and Tyler Warren. So
couldn't agree more. So with that said, Tribe, we covered week 7. What do you want to leave the people with this week?
Just stick to your process. Don't go chasing things just because there's not an easy button this week. Just be mindful of like some of the chalk that's going to pop up. When we have weeks like this where there's not like the obvious value, you're going to see chalk concentrate on things that people think are the safe plays that are shaky or more volatile than people are willing to admit. They just want to. Chalk has to be somewhere, right? So just be mindful of that this week, and really stick to the things that you value and the things that you look at. Like we said earlier in the show, don't go chasing waterfalls.
Okay, TLC. Okay. Because I don't want no scrubs. How do you not know you're quoting TLC?
Yo, that whole bit is hilarious.
Dude, I've been trying to get my fiance to watch that movie for like 6 fucking years, and she hates Will Ferrell more than anybody. And I'm trying to tell her, like, you don't have to like Will Ferrell, but the other guys might be like the greatest comedy I've ever seen.
Yes.
Like from start to finish, it's so funny. I could quote it forever. But all I'm going to say is thanks to the F Shack, Dirty Mike and the boys. Thanks. We will have sex in your car again. But anyway, for this week, what I'm going to say for everybody is, just like take your normal process and do it. But also more importantly, when there's not a ton of comfortable value, like don't force a value that's uncomfortable. If you think you're like, this is this build is what everybody's going to do, because like I can't go that low at a running back, I can't go, that high at tight end. That's okay, right? Like just have a different combination. Don't force the value. But just a quick content recap. We have Hess who's going to be putting out his State of Mind podcast where he goes over early game thoughts. Every single week now, Tribe and Nick are putting together a contest recap show where they break down every single great play from the previous week and what won contest, what was a good fade, what wasn't, and then some. We're also going to have the Slate talk later this week, with James and hopefully Pablo, if he's not on a boat somewhere in the middle of nowhere, he'll do it on Saturday night. Outside of that too, James will have his showdown articles, and I'll be back this Saturday breaking down the game environments, and maybe I'll drop a little core for the people. But everybody, thank you so much for joining us. This has been The Bakery. We'll be back next Thursday. Take care.
Peace.